So with all the different Disney lives that I've been doing and the Disney lawsuits that have gone on before, we're going to be talking about one that is the #1 headline for Disney lawsuits as of last year and will be in 2025. Before we hop into that, I really quickly want to show you because I think you guys will appreciate this. So my husband and I were messing with photo AI generating type things, and he was doing cartoon versions of me, and I asked him to make this one for me. It's Sarah Boone. And it was funny because he knew who she was. He doesn't follow along as much as I do. And he sent me one of her walking through a courthouse and then also one of her sitting in the gallery. And the AI in the gallery had this huge smile, and it just looked like the creepiest Sarah Boone ever. So I just wanted to share that before we jump in. Pretty entertaining. All right, so I have a decent amount I have to read, and I'm going to butcher the doctor's name. So when we get there, you will see it's extremely hard to remember to say. So this couple, I believe they're both from New York. She just became a doctor not too long ago and was really getting into her profession. And they were huge Disney World lovers, loved to go on vacation there. And they started planning an upcoming trip to go down there, but it was proving to be a little bit harder than usual. She had severe allergies to nuts and dairy. So many places are automatically removed. But of course, in Disney, there are places that can accommodate you. There's special things on the menu. There's restaurants who really cater for people who have a lot of food allergens. And after a lot of debate, they had decided that they were going to go to Raglan Road, which is a restaurant in Disney Springs. It's actually a really cool place in Disney Springs. You go in there and they have this huge room, open seating. There's dancers that come up. I mean, it's just really fun for everybody. I made sure to get a little photo. Yeah, that is how it looks in there, and it's pretty cool. Everyone gets really into it. It's a very laid-back environment. The food is good, but especially for her, she needed to make sure she had all of the allergy-friendly things for herself. She had made the reservation at home. She even called the restaurant to confirm with everything that they had that she would be okay to eat there, and they said, yep, no problem. So they end up going down there, and I'm going to say her last name. I'm not even going to try to attempt her first name. It's Tangsuan is her last name, and then she's married to Jeffrey Piccolo. Could say his. But so both of them go there. They're getting ready to order. She talked to the waitress again, just about like, hey, this is what I'm getting. It says that this will be okay for me. And the server said, absolutely. We make sure we aren't cross-contaminating. This will be, specially prepared. Just once again, like really put her worries, to bed. And she was happy. They get their meal, and just like 5 to 10 minutes in, not even, she starts having major allergic reaction symptoms. I mean, very bad. Obviously, panic, and people are trying to help her. They were trying to rush her to the hospital, and she unfortunately passed away. So, the husband filed a lawsuit for her and was suing Disney for $50,000. He thinks that, and he's suing Raglan Road, that should be said too. He thinks Raglan Road is listed on Disney's websites, on the actual Disney World one, but then also in Disney Springs. And although Raglan Road is not owned by Disney, they are on that property. So they view Raglan Road and Disney as two people or two entities that failed to keep her safe, failed to have those, allergy restriction stuff. They failed to follow their own rules, really. And of course, every restaurant, even in Raglan Road, had it. They said it can happen. And I understand that it can happen, but it really seems like she went above and beyond to try to make it so she was safe and it was going to be okay. And she couldn't have communicated any clearer because she talked with everybody. Even before they went down there, she made sure everything was okay. So I'm going to go ahead and read you part of what we know for this. So he had filed the lawsuit. Oh, she's 42 years old. He had filed a lawsuit in late-ish October. This would be 2023, I believe. And once again, saying that he thinks Disney and Raglan Road need to be held accountable because of this huge failure. It says, Piccolo is seeking in excess of $50,000 from Disney for mental pain and suffering, funeral expenses, medical expenses, and loss of income. He said his wife was highly allergic to dairy and nuts, and the couple chose to eat at the pub because they believed Disney would have proper safeguards in place. The couple repeatedly asked their server about allergen-friendly food and claimed the waiter even went to confirm with the chef, which if you have eaten at any Disney restaurant, I know that this is Disney Springs. It's not exactly a Disney-run restaurant, but they do that down in Disney World. If you have a question and you ask the server, they will go and talk to the chef. I have done that several times. So they're pretty good about that, and that doesn't surprise me that the waitress went ahead and did that. So the waitress assured them the food would be allergen-free. Tangsuan ordered the following menu items. Now keep this in mind, this is just the menu names, so some of it isn't going to sound familiar, but that's just because that's what they called it in here. One of them is Sure, I'm Frittered, so obviously she got fritters. Scallop Forest, The Shepherd Went Vegan, and onion rings. The bottom of the menu online notes cross-contamination may occur, and thus we cannot guarantee that any dish we prepare will be completely free of gluten/allergens. And I know that, but when do you start holding people accountable? I mean, she did all these extra steps. Surely someone dropped the ball, my opinion. The bottom of the menu, I already said that. Bottom of the menu in person also says that. She began having severe difficulty breathing and collapsed to the floor. 911 was called, and the caller told the dispatcher that she had self-administered an EpiPen. Piccolo and his mother, Jackie, had tried calling her to meet back up with her, but a person answered her phone and told them she had been taken to the hospital. So when this landed and Disney found out that they were getting sued for this, they tried to have the entire case dismissed. They said that that there's binding arbitrations that doesn't hold them liable. And what they later would learn is that in Disney Plus, there's a whole new cause or clause in there, and it goes over more than just Disney Plus. It goes over your visits to all the parks. And yeah, the login for Disney Plus and for your theme park is usually the same account. So they can kind of do that and get away with it. But they said in the clause that is in Disney Plus, that is where they have some of the allergy documents, and that basically says they can't be held to that, which is so ridiculous, because that to me is like burying it, but making sure you have your back covered and you're burying it so nobody would be reading on page 50 out of 100. Nobody sits there and reads these huge contracts, and especially if it's irrelevant. They wouldn't be on Disney Plus looking to find out allergy information and documents and what Disney's liable for and not. So that was obviously extremely frustrating for her husband. So Disney started then trying to get the whole case thrown out. And in August 2024, so we're not up to a year yet, but it was almost there. That is when Disney finally agreed that they will go to court and they'll have a jury decide in the wrongful death lawsuit. So, what do you think about this? I'm lucky. I'm allergic to apples. Not hard to avoid, not an issue. My dad is severely allergic to nuts. Same reaction that she has. Like, he will die if he has any. And unfortunately, nuts, if you have a peanut allergy or any type, they are easily cross-contaminated. It's a little scary sometimes. Because, yeah, my dad can eat certain types of nuts, just other ones. And even if he's buying the one type, the manufacturer and everybody can still have all the nuts run through the same thing. So there is cross-contamination that happens all the time. But what would you do in this scenario if you were her husband? I was shocked he only was going for $50,000. I feel like they beyond dropped the ball. Maybe they're going to say that Raglan Road should be held more accountable than Disney. Maybe. But it's just they have so many things documented of what they did to prevent this from happening, and then it happens. So I haven't read over the Raglan Road documents. I would gather it's probably going to be around $50,000 too, which I still think is a little bit low for Disney or Raglan Road if that was what they're going to do. It also makes me surprised that Disney didn't settle this, because that is not a lot of money to them. So, oh, Beverly, you're back on tonight. All right, so that is all I really have for today. I was on earlier. We got to watch sentencing that happened with a trial that we didn't follow at all, and I was really happy that we got to see it. It was not only entertaining because the judge was getting very mad at the attorneys, but then there was just so many details. Basically, us missing the trial was okay because we got to learn everything in that sentencing. So if you're interested, go check it out. We are going into the weekend. I'll be on and off of here, but I am so excited for Monday. Back to trials, back to some normalcy, kind of a schedule. Maybe I won't be doing these late nights anymore, although today's not that bad. Last night was late and bad. So, all right. Thank